Hi, good morning. Today, I chose to continue with a topic which currently I'm working on. I'm working on one of the small project on Node.js. I'm creating my own event loop. So I decided to go with the Java course, but today I don't have a time. So I'll just show you what I'm doing. Okay, I'll share my screen. I'll let you know that what projects I have done. You can go on my these are my public repositories. You can go on my I'll share my GitLab link so that you can see my projects and you can download those and go through it. So first of all, whenever I have seen people when they ask a simple question like how Node.js work on a single threaded, what is the architecture and stuff, people get a lot of confusion. Like they don't know how Node.js actually works. Okay, and how single threaded model works, and they don't know what V8 engine is. They just go through some theoretical concept, read on Google, and then uh, try to answer those things. So I'll tell you in phases how exactly it works, how it exactly it is implemented, and how you can answer in an interview. So basically, I'll make you understand the complete concept of Node.js single-threaded model. So as we know, in traditional programming languages like C++, Java, Python, they have their own compilers, correct? So basically, the core thing of thing is where you write a code in some programming languages, it gets converted into machine level languages, that is 0 1. That is the basic thing in programming, correct? So this is the basic thing. Now so what happens in Node.js? Like in traditional programming language, they have their own JVM virtual machines, the Java compilers. They compile the code, clean the code, compile the code, convert it into machine level bytecode, and then machine means your operating system executes it. But in Node.js, there is no packages like JVM and things like that. Then how Node.js works? So it uses something called as V8 engine. Now, how V8 engine came into picture? So as you know how JavaScript evolved. So when JavaScript came into picture, it was for client side, so that you can manipulate the DOM elements using JavaScript. Now, so when JavaScript evolved, then the browsers also evolved. So the browser came up with a concept called browser engine. Now, what browser engine does is they take JavaScript code and they convert it into the machine level code. So it has their own parsers, it has their own repainting flows, it has their own JIT, just in time compilers. So all the JavaScript code have to convert into the machine level code, and it is done by your browser engine. So Chrome has its own browser engine. It is called as V8 engine. So Node.js also works on JavaScript, right? So no, what they decided is we'll divide a Node.js into modules. Okay, and basic for compiling your JavaScript code, Node.js will use V8 engine. So Node.js uses V8 engine to convert your JavaScript code into machine level code. But some functions are there like IO operations. How IO operations, like in traditional programming languages, they use multi-threading, correct? So here in Node.js, they said, oh no, we'll use only one single thread. We don't use multi-threading. So multi-threading is not a concept with Node.js. So they come up with a solution like, okay, we'll convert JavaScript code into compiler bytecode using V8 engine. But what about IO operations? Okay, so they developed one module. Okay, for event driven things. So whatever the events are there, network events, stuff like that, set timeout, timer functions, a lot of events are there. So there will be one single module for handling the events. So they develop one library in C called libuv library. All the event goes to that libuv library. That libuv library has their own single threaded main thread which executes the event loop. Okay, that event loop, what it does is it checks the kind of particular events which are been stored into an queues. Okay, and that checks, it continuously checks that event queues and it executes it. Okay, that event loop does it in different phases. Now it has some different internal details. We'll go into it later on. So this is how Node.js works. Okay, so basic your JavaScript code is converted into machine level code using V8 engine, and whatever functions are there which are core Node.js functions, like set timeout, set immediate. These timeout functions are not part of JavaScript, right? It's part of Node.js core module for handling IO operations. So these IO operations is handled, this event operations are handled by a libuv library which is developed in C, and it is handled by event loop. That is a main thread. It's a single thread, and that single thread checks the continuously event loops, event queues, and that queues is been executed using that event loop, using the operating system resources. So this is how Node.js architecture is designed. So whenever you are being asked like how V8 engine works and how Node.js, what is libuv and how event loop works and stuff like that, it's very simple. Node.js consists of two parts, that is core Node.js modules, and secondly it's a V8 engine. JavaScript codes. So this is your complete JavaScript. It's been compiled into V8 engine, and whatever the Node code core node modules are there, which are for IO or event handling, it is done by libuv library, which is designed in C. And libuv library has this event loop, which is a single thread. So it continuously, like a busy waiting solution, it keeps on working, and then it checks the event loops, event queues, and it just execute those. Okay, so whenever, but when you have a set timeout functions or core node module functions which are having a heavy task, like database queries are there, accessing database or network queries, different types of heavy node modules functions are there, then you have to use C++ threads. So this event loop, what it does, it takes that functions and it just calls some C++ thread pool is there. That pool is in the backend. It's been used for heavy operations. So definitely see, multi-threading is being used in Node.js, but users don't have to use multi-threading. It is done in under the hood by your libuv library or your event loop, whatever structure is there. Correct. So I'll show you one how event loop project is been. Okay, I'll show you how to implement your own event loop, which I'm going through right now. I'll develop it using C also, and we will go one by one. In our next lecture, we'll see how to develop our own event loop and how to use it. Okay, so this is my event loop. This is my main thread. Okay, this is the thread event main. This is called as main thread. Okay, this is a single thread which calls event loop. Okay, this is event loop. It start and then it continuously goes on, checking the things. So it goes here. Okay, so I'm using SDL2 libraries for event handling. So your mouse click and create on these things, functions I have been using. So I'm passing the SDL events, and I'm passing the events here. Okay, and then here. So here how the start function works, how the event loop starts. Okay, and then I'm creating a window. I'll explain you the whole code once we start diving into coding. Okay, so this is for, I mean, this is the overall thing for how Node.js works and how the architecture of single-threaded works. People get a lot of confusion in it, and many people don't know the difference between how server works. And they said C++ is not implemented in server. There is some event loop. There is nothing like that. In server also you use operating systems. You use AWS, Azure, etc. We have to use operating system. So, and to access the operating system, you have to use libuv library, which is a C library. So that is the basic thing. Whether you are using it on your personal desktop or a cloud or whatsoever it is. Okay. So that's it for today. Thank you so much.